You saw the title and probably thought, what the hell? Good. That's the point. Because we need to talk about this obsession with size. Not just with bodies, but with everything. Bigger houses, bigger salaries, bigger titles, bigger numbers. We're obsessed with the idea that bigger automatically means better, more valuable, more desirable. But here's the truth. Bigger penises are only attractive on the right person. And if you take that literally or metaphorically, it's the same lesson. The right person knows how to use what they've got, knows how to respect you, connect with you, make you feel safe, seen, wanted. Without that, bigger means nothing. Without compassion, bigger is useless. Without chemistry, bigger can be uncomfortable. And without respect, bigger can even be destructive. You know exactly what I mean because you've seen it. The people who have the big job title but no integrity, the ones with the big bank account but zero generosity, the ones with the big audience but no authenticity. We think we want big, but what we really want is big with depth, with care, with purpose. In the wrong hands, bigger is not a gift, it's a liability. This isn't just about attraction. It's about how you live your life. You can chase bigger all day long, but if you don't stop to ask who's holding it, why they have it, and what they're doing with it, you're going to end up disappointed, maybe even hurt. The only time bigger is truly attractive is when it comes with humility, intention, and skill. Otherwise, it's just an empty number. So stop being hypnotized by size, stop assuming more is always better, and start valuing substance over scale. Because in the right hands, bigger can be a blessing. But in the wrong ones, it's just a distraction that keeps you from what actually matters. Bigger only matters in the right hands, and that truth applies to far more than people realize. We are conditioned to think that if something is bigger, whether it's a physical attribute, a paycheck, a house, a social media following, or a career title, it automatically carries more value, more status, more worth. But the reality is that without the right person behind it, without the right intention driving it, bigger loses its appeal, its meaning, and in many cases, its power. When we talk about the right hands, we're talking about more than just capability. The right hands belong to someone who understands the responsibility that comes with what they have. They know that size, reach, and scale amplify everything, good or bad. In the right hands, bigger can be used to create comfort, joy, opportunity, and connection. In the wrong hands, it can cause harm, discomfort, and damage that lingers far longer than the initial impression. The right hands are steady, intentional, and aware. They don't take what they have for granted. They understand that what they hold is not just for show, it's for use, and use with skill. Because here's the thing, bigger without skill is clumsy. Bigger without empathy is selfish. Bigger without understanding is dangerous. You've seen it in every part of life. A person with a big role who has no leadership ability can destroy a team faster than a bad economy. A person with a big platform but no sense of responsibility can spread misinformation to millions in minutes. A person with big financial resources but no sense of generosity can live in wealth and still leave nothing good behind. The hands matter more than the thing itself. The hands determine whether bigger is a blessing or a burden. And the only reason bigger becomes attractive is because of what those hands can do with it. It's easy to be seduced by the surface. The sparkle of something bigger catches our attention and triggers the belief that more of anything is better. But look closer. A bigger house in the wrong hands can become a cold, empty place nobody wants to be in. A bigger company in the wrong hands can exploit workers and destroy communities. Even something as intimate as a bigger physical attribute can be uncomfortable, awkward, or even harmful if the person doesn't know how to approach it with care, respect, and understanding. The right hands don't make it about the size, they make it about the experience. They know that bigger is a tool, not a trophy. They take the time to learn how to handle it, how to work with it, how to make it enhance instead of overwhelm. And because they know how to use it, bigger becomes meaningful. It becomes something that draws you in, not just because it's impressive on its own, but because of how it's handled, how it's presented, how it's shared. Think about a talented musician with a rare, high-quality instrument. The instrument is valuable, yes, but it's the musician's hands that turn it into magic. In someone else's hands, that same instrument might sound harsh or dull. The size, the quality, the rarity, it's wasted without the skill to match it. Bigger is like that. In the wrong hands, it's just an object, just a number, just an empty form of more. In the right hands, it becomes something that resonates, something that leaves an impression for all the right reasons. We forget sometimes that bigger isn't neutral, it magnifies whatever it's paired with. Pair it with arrogance, and it becomes intolerable. Pair it with ignorance, and it becomes dangerous. Pair it with care, humility, and intention, and it becomes something you want to be around, something you admire. The right hands can take bigger and make it feel comfortable, valuable, and safe. They can make it enhance connection instead of replace it. They can turn it into a force for good instead of a tool for ego. That's why bigger only matters in the right hands, because without them, all the size in the world won't make it worth having. Size without substance is meaningless, and yet so often people chase size as if it's the ultimate measure of worth. The bigger the number, the more impressive it must be, at least that's what we've been taught to believe. But the truth is, when you strip away the shine, the scale, and the bragging rights, size on its own holds no real value. What matters is what's inside it, what it represents, and what it delivers. Substance is the depth, the quality, the purpose behind whatever is being measured. Without it, size is just decoration, flashy maybe, but empty at its core. You can have a massive social media following, but if you're not offering anything meaningful to those people, it's just a number that feeds your ego, not a community that builds real impact. You can own the biggest house on the block, but if it's not filled with warmth, connection, and love, it's just a bigger box to live in. The absence of substance turns size into an illusion, a distraction that looks valuable from the outside but offers nothing when you get closer. Substance is what gives size its weight, its meaning, its staying power. Without it, size collapses under scrutiny. People often chase the appearance of success rather than the reality of it, confusing the scale of something with its significance. A big title at work without the ability to lead or inspire doesn't mean you're powerful, it means you're holding a label that you can't live up to. A big paycheck without fulfillment doesn't make you successful, it makes you someone who's paid well to be miserable. Substance comes from skill, from character, from intention. It's built over time and can't be faked for long. You can inflate size overnight, followers can be bought, statistics can be manipulated, appearances can be staged, but substance requires investment, effort, and truth. It's what makes something matter long after the novelty of size wears off. Without substance, bigger often turns into disappointment because once the initial shock or attraction fades, there's nothing left to hold your attention or earn your respect. That's why people who seem impressive at first can quickly lose their appeal when you realize they have nothing behind the show. Substance is the reason something endures. It's why a small gesture filled with care can mean more than an extravagant gift given out of obligation. It's why a short conversation with someone genuine can stay with you longer than hours spent with someone who only talks to hear themselves speak. When there's no substance, size becomes hollow, and hollow things break easily under pressure. In relationships, size without substance can be the difference between temporary attraction and lasting connection. Someone may have all the physical traits you thought you wanted, but if they lack kindness, curiosity, or emotional depth, you quickly see that the outer shell can't make up for the emptiness inside. In business, size without substance can look like rapid growth without a solid foundation, impressive for a moment but destined to crumble. And in personal goals, it can be chasing milestones without meaning, collecting achievements that leave you feeling strangely unsatisfied because you never cared about the journey, only the optics. Substance is the anchor that keeps size from floating away into irrelevance. It turns big into meaningful, and without it, big is just noise. You can't measure value purely by scale, because what you're really looking for is richness, depth, and authenticity. You might be dazzled by the surface at first, but once you've seen enough of the world, you learn that what lasts isn't the thing that's the biggest, it's the thing that's the most real. Size can get you noticed, but substance is what keeps you remembered. It's what transforms something from a passing novelty into something worth holding onto. Without it, size is just a shell waiting to collapse under its own emptiness. Intention and respect outweigh scale, and yet so many people make the mistake of prioritizing the size of something over the way it is handled. You can have the biggest opportunity, the largest platform, or the most significant advantage in the world, but if it's not guided by the right intention and rooted in respect, it will never feel right, never create real connection, and never reach its full potential. Intention is the why behind what you do, the purpose that shapes every choice and action. Respect is the how, the way you approach others, yourself, and the things you hold. Together, they matter far more than the size of anything you might possess. When intention is clear and rooted in something meaningful, even small actions can have massive impact. A quiet word of encouragement at the right time can transform someone's confidence. A modest project handled with care can make more of a difference than a grand production executed with arrogance. The size of the gesture becomes irrelevant when the intention behind it is sincere and the delivery comes from a place of respect. Respect changes the way people experience what you bring to the table. You could have enormous resources or unmatched talent, but without respect for the people you interact with, those things turn into tools of power rather than tools of connection. Respect means you value others enough to listen, to understand, to acknowledge their needs and boundaries. It's what turns a transaction into a relationship and a performance into a shared moment. When respect is absent, scale often becomes a weapon. A bigger voice can be used to shout others down instead of lifting them up. A larger platform can be used to spread ego instead of truth. A bigger budget can be used to control instead of collaborate. Without respect, size magnifies the worst in people because it gives them more reach, more volume, more ability to impose themselves without care for the consequences. Intention works the same way. Without the right why, even the most impressive scale loses meaning. A person might build a massive business, but if their intention is purely self-serving, the impact is shallow and the value is temporary. A performer might draw the biggest crowd, but if their only goal is applause, the moment fades quickly because it wasn't built on real connection. The combination of intention and respect creates trust, and trust is what gives scale its true power. When people know that you operate with a clear purpose and genuine regard for them, they respond to you in ways that no amount of sheer size could ever buy. They support you, they follow you, they work with you not because of what you have, but because of how you use it. Even in personal relationships, this principle is obvious. Someone may have every physical trait you find attractive, but if they lack respect for you or the right intention in being with you, the connection will always feel off. Size can capture attention, but it's the energy, the care, the mindset behind it that makes people stay. Intention without respect can still feel manipulative, and respect without intention can feel empty. Both are needed to make scale matter. You could hold the most powerful position in a company, but without respect for your team and a meaningful intention behind your leadership, that position is just a title. You could have the most advanced tools, but if your intention is misguided and your respect for others is missing, those tools will only build walls, not bridges. When you focus on intention and respect first, scale becomes an amplifier of good instead of a magnifier of harm. A small act of kindness from someone with pure intention and deep respect for others will be remembered far longer than a grand display from someone chasing attention. The biggest advantage, the widest reach, the highest position, these only become truly attractive and powerful when they are carried by a person who knows why they have them and treats every interaction, every decision, and every person with the kind of respect that makes those advantages worth something.